Thank you.
Okay, welcome everybody. It's 9:02 a.m. and I'm Nancy Vandell, the chairperson for the NCAC Bylaws Subcommittee. I call the meeting to order. I have no conflicts that I know of. Would everybody please introduce yourselves and let me know if you have any conflicts, or let us know.
Michael Beachley, no conflicts.
Susan Schomburg, no conflicts.
Tom Sipe, no conflicts.
Great, thank you. Expect Wyatt will be here. I hadn't heard. There he is.
There he is.
Perfect timing, Wyatt.
It's your turn to say no conflicts.
Yeah, that's right. You know what you're saying, Wyatt, more than most. So Wyatt, good to see you. Can you unmute, please, and join us?
Wyatt,
Hi,
no conflicts.
welcome.
Thank you.
We have a new member of the NCAC here with us today, Elise, and she's going to be kind of listening in the background, but she's been coming here since before she was born, as she put it. So sounds like me and Susan. Okay, so we have a full agenda today. I'm going to go ahead and try to share it. So maybe I should actually see before I do that. Get into the right tab here. All right. Okay, so can everybody see that, the agenda?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so we have approval of 2 sets of minutes. Thank you, Michael. We'll get to in a moment. My report, I'm not sure if Mark is coming today or not. We'll see. And I don't expect Sarah, although you don't know, you never know. Policies, procedures, and references will be the main part of our discussion. And feedback session planning. I actually have a tentative calendar set up for you guys to review. And then meeting and action item summary, and then public comment. Although I've mentioned to Elise that she's welcome to comment since it's a small group. So any changes or additions to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. Just to briefly go over our calendar, we are having an executive board meeting next Wednesday, so I do plan to talk about that a little bit. And then our next 2 bylaws subcommittee meetings, and then another executive board meeting. So it's a fairly calm calendar, at least in terms of events. And then our next membership meeting is that second Saturday in April. So I'm going to stop sharing that. So the minutes went out last night. Did everybody have a chance to look at them, or do you want to have a chance to read them first and defer this to the end of the meeting? Would anyone like to defer approving the minutes to the end of the meeting? Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I'd like to defer.
Okay. And I want to thank you, Michael. And I'll just mention I have reviewed them. Okay, and then my report, I'm going to stop sharing. So we had our membership meeting back on the second Saturday, and I just want to thank Tom and Wyatt. You guys were stars presenting on CERT and the volunteer fire department. They did a great job. I don't know if you've heard anyone stepping up to be interested since then.
We had 6 people sign up for CERT, or at least attend the first meeting. I think we're going to have
Did you?
more sign up.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
That's great. Great. So well, that's a step forward.
Signed up for what particular, Tom, do you know?
Pardon?
For what positions?
They're just learning what CERT is. And
Gotcha,
basic
gotcha.
CERT
Okay.
training. And so there was actually probably about 18 people at the CERT meeting. The rest of them were already CERT members, so the people who were already established as CERT members were there, which is great. We
Yeah.
didn't lose any, and we got a few more, it looks like.
That's terrific, especially with the tsunami risk and different things like that. So that's really great. It was interesting when you were talking about the training that it's over sounds like several days. When I took training, it was over one weekend. So it was a
Oh, no.
Friday night, all day Saturday, and most of the day Sunday.
We have, I think there's about 8 2-hour sessions.
Okay. Yeah. I guess maybe it was 2 weekends, but anyway, it was all crammed together. And then Kim Anderson was attending the membership meeting. It sounds like the first meeting that she had attended, and she approached me afterward. We had a talk about what the NCAC is about and how it differs from the NCA and different things involving all of that. And I went through different opportunities with her for getting active, and she was quite interested in the outreach task force. So I contacted
great.
Mark.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, she was. So I contacted Mark, and he said great, and jointly contacted Susan, who I don't know if you've had a chance yet, Susan, to contact him, but
We've traded emails back and forth, and I am getting together with her this afternoon.
that's
Oh,
great. That's
wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
So she lives in Nesquin now. They moved from California about 2.5 years ago. Sounds like from the Bay Area about 2.5 years ago, and live had it in the email, and I can't remember now. East of
Hills
the
of
freeway.
Nesquin, I think, Nancy.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you already know her. Great. Do you know her, Wyatt?
Linda does.
Okay.
Awesome.
My mentor.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Mark. So we have and Wyatt, maybe Linda would be interested in joining the outreach task force.
Well,
So-
she just volunteered for the CERT thing, so that might be a
Oh.
little bit more than she wants to handle.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, getting two will be great. That'll be great. Welcome, Mark. All right, Mark just disappeared. There he is. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Hi. Good to see you. There you are.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry,
you for
late.
coming.
I'm getting here late.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We have a new NCAC member, Elise. I'm not going to try your last name, Elise, but
Oh.
she's joining us from Kuwait, where she works for the U.S. Embassy. So
Oh,
interested in
Oh.
getting involved, and picked the bylaws
Yeah.
subcommittee meeting to come to. So I'm hoping we don't bore her to death here, but anyway, she's kind of hanging out in the background.
okay.
So Elise, Mark is the chairperson of the NCAC, and often joins us in meetings. So okay, so I just basically went over the membership meeting, and then our executive board meeting is coming up next Wednesday.
Mhm.
So some of the things we talk about today, I want to bring to the executive board meeting, including the feedback session tentative schedule that we'll talk about later in the meeting. I have just now reached out to Sarah Absher via email, and I CC'd Mark just to let her know that we are coming up with our policies, procedures, and references, and would appreciate her getting together with us to answer a bunch of questions. So what I proposed was that she and I talk first sometime next week or the week after, and that she attend one or both of our next two meetings to go over the answers. So that way she'll have a heads up. And I've been working on keeping a list and adding to the list of our questions, so we don't just hit her piecemeal with this and that as they go through. So hopefully she will respond saying, "Oh yes, I would love to attend your meetings and give you the answers." So and yeah, so I think that's all I have for now until we get into the other areas. So Mark, did you have any things that you would, I've added you, I think I noted have added you as kind of a permanent
Oh,
person on the
okay.
agenda, but it's totally optional on whether you would like to
Yeah.
comment, but please, this is your agenda item.
Okay, well, thanks for doing that. I enjoy coming to these meetings because I keep up to date on a little bit about what's going on. And I think it's important to do that. I just two things. The first thing is, and maybe I have to say, I don't know if you have it. You probably do on the agenda today, Nancy, to talk a little bit about requests that have to do with money. Um, for in terms of from the NCAC, I have some thoughts about that, and then and we haven't gotten any new ones. I haven't.
Okay.
But then the other thing is just a more of a heads up. I'll be traveling in April over in Spain and Portugal, and I don't know that I'm going to attend the meetings when I'm there. The time difference, I think well, Susan knows about this. She's always on a time difference schedule, but it's 8 or 9 hours, I think, ahead. And so, but please, what I would say, and I'm going to contact Alex and make sure he's ready to do everything in April, but just email me if you have questions, because I always check email and I can do that any time of the day. And if there's something that I need to attend to, please let me know. And I'll do that as I'm able. So I think those are the two things.
Okay, I appreciate that, Mark. And I will say, we certainly noted the request for money, and that whole area, actually. I actually went back and reviewed the video from last meeting last night as I was reviewing the minutes, and yeah, we had quite the conversation about that.
Mhm.
I don't actually have a proposal ready for today, but
Mhm.
I'll draft that, and we'll maybe you and I can talk about that before the executive board meeting, and I'll send it out to the subcommittee as well.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, because it probably would be good to talk about it at the executive board meeting too, in case you do get some more requests like that. So not just requests for money though, right? It's also
Well,
request for bulletin
yeah,
board kinds of things and announcements and that kind of thing, correct?
it is. But to me, how do I say this? To me, I would just say public service announcements are are
Easier.
easier.
Yeah.
But when money's attached to it, or if it's a political thing,
Mhm.
those are the two that, to me, when we say we're going to do that, allow that, we're sort of putting a stamp on it that
Mhm.
it'll be hard for us to get out from under.
Right. Right.
So that's the big concern there. That's all. I have no opposition to, well, maybe the political ones, but the money ones are all
Yes.
good things, but I just
Right.
want us to talk about that. So,
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we can talk further about that today if you would like to. We can just include that as part of the agenda. I just didn't have anything actually written up for it. So
yeah.
so yeah, I think we'd probably still have time to go ahead and talk more about that if we just want to draft on the fly. Okay, thank you, Mark. So policies, procedures, and references. I think, Tom, you did an incredible job putting all that document together. Thank you very,
Well, we'll see when
very
we start
much.
reviewing it.
I know you did, no matter what. Let me go into share mode here, so you can share it. So I guess this will
Okay.
be number R20 that we're going to be
Yes.
coming up with today.
And figure out which screen is which.
So Elise, on our subcommittee, Tom Sipe is our editor and does a phenomenal job. And Michael Beachley is along with being our NCAC parliamentarian, is also our scribe for the meetings. And Wyatt and Susan are wonderful members of the team as well. So you'll find it's a terrific committee working together. So these policy, procedures, and references is a new document. Last year, we spent the year redoing the bylaws completely, and they were approved at a special membership meeting in May. And now this year, we're tackling a brand new document called Policies, Procedures, and References. So you're going to see us or hear us going through lots of detail on how the bylaws are implemented, basically. And you can see the document itself in the documents link that's on where you signed up for this meeting on the website. Okay. Thank you.
And the first sentence there is meant to say what the document's all about. Okay. The only change that I made past 19 have been just a little cleanup here and there. I've defined references since I defined policies and procedures. And I didn't quite strike out all the reference brackets, which were the direct references to the bylaws, since that seemed not to be particularly useful. Even I didn't use them.
Okay.
So I've struck them, and that's the only changes that I've made. I think you may see other ones. I think the best way to go through this is to call out things which are, oh, that's odd. Thought I had put check marks by those ones which have been accepted.
Not in the version I saw.
Oh.
I
see.
really like
meant-
though what you did to add in the pertinent policies and procedures into each of these items.
That's Wyatt's fault.
Okay, thank you,
No, I
Wyatt.
can't take credit for that, Tom. That's you.
Okay, thank you, both of you.
Okay, to be clear, the paragraphs are Wyatt's and the bullets are mine.
Yes, it sounds great.
And the bullets are great.
They are. It's really helpful. And I assume at some later date, we'll actually have links. But I don't know if that's even required.
Um,
Probably not.
That was broken for some reason, and I don't know why. It could be a quirk of the document. I shudder to think if we've got a broken document, but that happens
Well,
sometimes in Word. But I
some of
can't seem to make them into links, because that was my original intent.
Mhm.
If you make it
And
into
if
a
some-
link and then you go over to pick place in the document, I just get that.
Interesting.
I should get headings because these are all headings,
Yeah.
but I think it's broken.
Hmm.
And the
So-
solution to that is to export it and import it, which is
Yeah.
painful.
A pain. Yeah, it's going to change anyway as we roll out more of the different policies and procedures too. But there will be some additional ones, I think. Yeah, I've been learning more about this. I'm actually in another group for some reason. I worked on redoing bylaws for them last year, and this year it's policies and procedures, but at least they have a starting document. So I'm the Tom in that group.
All right.
So I'm wrestling with this word crap. Sorry, word stuff.
Yeah,
I admire you even more, Tom, after having to do this myself.
Word is not my favorite program. Anyway, so it is a lingua franca, so that's what we'll deal with. So do people want a chance to look at these and see whether or not, or I think it would be good to, if you haven't read through them, to read through them, make sure I haven't missed anything.
This is, in a word, an elegant document. Thank you, Tom.
Mhm. It is. I haven't looked at the detail yet, but I think it's something we could kind of look at. And
Yeah.
for now, I have no objection if you want to just accept it,
Okay.
and then if we have
one
anything
question.
after that, we can change it unless somebody else has a comment.
I just have one comment. Do we want to include task force along with subcommittees in these sentences?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The task forces are not necessarily open. They're not necessarily open.
Yeah.
But under like fairness and equity, respect.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
There's a
I'll take
risk of
that.
including it, if in fact they're not going to be subject to things like Oregon Public Meetings Law. By putting it in here as a addition, where somebody can cite it as requiring the task force to operate that way.
Yeah, and the specific, and just for clarity, the specific reason for not having them is because we want to be able to have people meet informally to get something done,
Yeah,
something specific done. So I agree with the sentiment, but the effect of it is probably going to be something we don't want.
yeah.
And we should probably think about in the description of task forces, uh, put that in there in terms of the specific attributes that we think they need to have. Would that be, Susan, would that work?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you about the Oregon Public Meeting Law, maybe not applying it. It's just more the respect aspect.
Mhm.
And I don't know how we incorporate it, but I agree with you. I think somehow it needs to be incorporated.
Okay.
Yeah, I think under fairness and equity, and respect, particularly with outreach communications, well, I think task forces might be appropriate for
If you-
those.
But if you put it here, then you got the
I'm not talking
Oregon
about
Public.
putting it up there. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about putting it down under fairness and equity, and respect. All activities and actions of the committee, its subcommittees and adding task forces in there, and adding task forces under respect. The thing is, if we put it in some and not others, that raises the question about why they're in some and not others, and so that's why.
Sorry, I didn't mean to open up a can of worms, but
It is a
Yeah.
can of worms. You,
only because I'm involved in the outreach task force.
It already-
I know
it
this
already was a
not
can of
mentioned.
worms. Um,
But without cannons of worms, you can't catch any fish.
all right, fair enough. Seems to me we had a description of how task forces are meant to work, but maybe that was in the bylaws.
We do in the bylaws,
Okay.
but I
Guess we
don't
don't
know
have
that we
it here.
have it in here. We have each task force separately. We don't seem to have a general one about task forces.
Okay, there were some questions. I'm gonna make a note that maybe we should add a paragraph at the end about task forces.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Article 7 of the bylaws.
Right. Um, yeah, I'm wrestling with whether it's worth having a policy on task forces and under that having a separate, a sub policy for outreach, a separate sub policy, but we don't seem to have sub policies, so
We
it's not
do.
even a word.
Yeah, we've got a monitoring task force here.
Right. I mean, we have them as policies and we have them as procedures, but we don't have them as like a sub under another heading.
Okay, so
And I don't think we probably need that. We have a separate one for our subcommittees. Each one has a separate one. We don't seem to.
well, the idea that the task forces are probably ephemeral and informal, so
Mhm.
we don't have much to describe them. We're probably okay. So should we or should we not mention fairness, respect, and whatever openness as a task force attribute?
They're not necessarily supposed to be open. They're supposed to be
Fairness, respect,
Equity.
and
task oriented, right? They're
Yeah.
So it's already covered in the bylaws that they're outside of
Yeah, they
Oregon
really
public meeting
are.
law, but
I don't know. I think would be best just to omit it.
I tend to agree, but do we want to think about it till the next meeting?
All right.
yeah, how about if you go back up to that paragraph, those paragraphs again, I wonder if we could say the committee and its activities.
Oh, you want the first paragraph?
Just take out subcommittees. Because really, we don't need the subcommittees part, right? It's all under the committee.
That's true.
Yeah, that would solve it.
Yeah. Yes, I like that. Less is more.
Mhm.
I don't know that we can
Just
enforce
the
it.
committee and its members. Although, really, I think committee does it again. I don't know that we even need the members in there. The committee encompasses,
Yeah.
comprises the
We can't
members,
actually compel the members to do anything.
right? I don't know. What do you think about that, Wyatt? This is your
Bailey,
paragraphs.
I think,
Yeah, I kind of agree with the deletions, frankly.
Okay. Any other comments?
that's an elegant solution. I like that.
It really is.
Well, thank you for bringing it up, Susan. Good
Yeah.
eye once again.
Okay, I'm gonna delete that note, and I think
Yeah.
that covers it.
Yeah.
Do we have any other comments? Anything else we need? I think it's mostly, we can rely on Robert's rules for limiting time, cutting off people, and abrasive conduct. Robert's rules, I think.
Yeah,
covers
I
that.
think it kind of includes our general philosophy. I don't know that we need anything more in there, but what do you
Okay.
guys think?
it's a little,
Because we'll have
It-
the honor system later as a separate policy, right?
I don't know. I think it's worthwhile including in the header.
Do you?
We may not want to include bullet points underneath it, but it's certainly one of the guiding principles of the whole operations of the committee.
Okay. So would you move where we already have honor system somewhere else? Would you move it up here?
I would move it at the very end underneath where it is now.
Oh. Okay,
Have
and
it as a bullet, Wyatt, is that what you're suggesting?
No, I think just as a statement of policy.
Okay,
let's see if I can find where the honor system is. Unfortunately, somebody went and rearranged all of the
I
policies.
think it's
Right.
policy 11. Well, that's for voting, the honor system for voting. Does that cover it? What?
Now reading.
Oh, I did put the check marks.
Oh, they're down there. Okay. Yeah, that was nice. I noticed you took people's names off too.
Yeah, the ones that are done are done.
Yeah.
I mean, we already mentioned the honor system in the bylaws. So,
Can we go back to policy 11, Tom, or Nancy?
sure.
So really what you're talking about Wyatt is a value statement as opposed to how we
Yeah.
do this. And so I think what you're suggesting is having a separate statement saying that we believe in the honor of our members to act ethically. Something
Yeah.
along those lines. Is that kind of what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a value that you'll find a thread throughout the whole series of P and Ps and the bylaws.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Do you want to draft something, Wyatt, for the next meeting?
Sure.
You and Tom can work together on that. I think this is
Yeah.
your. Does that sound okay to people?
Mhm.
okay, so I'm not deleting the honor system part.
Yeah, and maybe something on, not a negative thing about abusive conduct, but along with the honor system, something about where meetings are conducted in a fair and friendly, maybe it goes under
And that's,
fairness.
yeah, fairness and equity.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things Kim mentioned, by the way, was that she had attended a couple of meetings a couple of years ago and was turned off by the conflicts and the tones. And so she had stopped coming, and then she came to this one last February and was just so impressed at how things were being run. Very impressed with you, Mark, and just a completely different feeling. So hopefully with the outreach committee, we can get more people to come back and take a look. So I do think there's some value in actually putting something in a positive way about hearing people. Well, I don't know. You two
Okay.
can talk about it. I'm sure you'll have something great.
Okay, I will.
And Mark, as usual, please feel free to comment at any time.
So I'll
Okay,
leave
thank
that
you.
as it is, and we'll work something out. Okay,
Okay. So an action item then for that last paragraph for Wyatt.
And Tom,
Okay.
add Tom in there.
Yeah, Wyatt and Tom.
That way I
Right.
can share the blame.
Right. No, definitely. I'm sorry. I thought I said Tom too.
oh, I'm easy to forget. Okay, okay,
So the access to NCAC records, I thought we changed that to Wyatt and Nancy, but maybe not.
could have,
I
could have.
think so.
And mainly because we're going to have to, it's one of the questions for Sarah.
Mhm.
And then also need to talk with Gary, our secretary, about some of those too.
Our current secretary.
Hopefully continuing, but
No, he's not.
oh, he's not? Oh,
I had a offline conversation at the CERT meeting. He's not running again.
oh,
And he said, if I know anybody who would be interested, let them know. So I'm now telling people who might know somebody.
oh, he's been doing a great job.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's just not what he wants to do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Conflicts of interest. So Wyatt came up with a great document, and I have some, I'd sent some comments back, but not until yesterday. So he and I are gonna, we have a meeting set up for next Friday to talk about policy 3.
So, okay, so we're,
While we're on that, just as a kind of a question mark, Michael raised a really interesting point at the last meeting about the availability of the parliamentarian for issues of ethics. And I think it's worthwhile giving some thought to what that role would be, and if so, where would we define it if we want to define it at all, for the purposes of the bylaws or the P and Ps.
Yeah, you're talking about actually adding it into the parliamentarian policy or procedure than riot, I guess, because
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Or the
Oh.
bylaws themselves. And I don't know, Michael, where you've seen that before, but if you've got any additional background information, I think it'd be helpful to know.
That's an interesting point.
Just step away. I'm getting a call from community development here.
Okay.
When we talk about parliamentary procedures in training, we talk about it in terms of process in thinking, in a philosophical perspective, rather than rules and regulations. It's simply a way of addressing issues with people and holding on to the concept of neutrality in doing so, maintaining a distance in helping people make decisions themselves rather than telling them how to think or what to think or how to apply things and so on and so forth. So it's really a facilitation thing more than it is an interpretation thing. I'll be glad to press around with it if you like and come up with some sort of a statement there.
I would think I'd appreciate it, frankly. I think it should be out there somewhere.
Yeah, well, I've got on the screen there the parliamentarian section duties.
Yeah.
This highlighted bullet sort of covers that, but if we
Yeah.
had something explicit about, or even just add the phrase conflicts of interest or something like that, or ethical.
Yeah.
But policy, I mean, in the broadest sense, this covers that.
You know, was it really interesting yesterday at the faculty senate meeting? Because it's the first time that the university council, who is a statewide agent, came to speak to the faculty senate about what's going on nationally and the cuts in funding and the cuts in programs and the effect that it has and the extent to which faculty members are able to or ought to speak out and say something, and whether or not they should be careful with what they say, and I mean that directly, and so on. And I was asked about that, and I said it's not up to me to say one way or another, but I certainly can enter into a conversation to help people decide for themselves what they want to do, how they want to do it, and so on. And so again, the focus on there is on the facilitation of individuals trying to make decisions about their positions and so on. It was a very interesting and I might say touchy discussion. We've not had that at the faculty senate for a long time.
Michael, it raises an interesting question because the way this reference 10 is written, if we added ethical advice to the chairperson, you've expanded that role a little bit as to allow the parliamentarian to give advice is probably not the right word, and you'll find a better one. Whether in fact the parliamentarian would be available to individuals before such a vote would be taken or participation.
Well, I've made it clear to the faculty that I'm available, and sometimes that has actually happened. It's not unusual to be called, and it is always in confidence, so that people can state what's on their mind without, their concern or fear that I'm going to be sharing that with somebody else. It's a kind of an interesting midwifery in effect. But I come to that, Wyatt, as a professor of communication, interpersonal communication, small group problem solving, and that sort of thing, where the focus of our attention is on facilitation rather than answers. And so I don't know. I'll be glad to put that in there and formulate some narrative or words that will work that out. Minor caution is that future parliamentarians may not understand what the heck that means.
Yeah,
And so nevertheless, here's an opportunity for me to use the word may.
yeah,
Yeah, rather than should or ought or, that sort of thing. But that the idea is there. And I think that's a good idea. Who does somebody speak with prior to their bringing an issue of sensitivity before the body? For clarity, for values clarification, word clarification, and so on. It's a touchy subject.
yeah.
So
So
I'm
what,
looking at the bylaws and under the parliamentarian part of the bylaws, and it does say the parliamentarian shall be, where is it? The duties of the parliamentarian are to attend NCAC membership and executive board meetings and give advice in parliamentary procedure when requested. If we're going to go anywhere and do any bylaws changes, that would be a place where we could say parliamentary procedure and ethics questions. I don't think you want to give advice on ethics questions, right,
No.
Michael? It's more
I don't want to give advice on ethics at all. I want to,
no,
what I prefer to do is to ask questions where an individual can clarify for themselves.
right.
And
So
that's why I use the term facilitate rather than,
yeah, it's a
give
good
answers.
word.
take a look
So-
at the reference, the change to reference 10. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, it's a good start. Let me think about that, okay?
Okay.
And I'll play around with that for our next meeting.
Okay, so going back to the document that Wyatt and I are talking about, I did add suggesting that we add some resources either in the policy or the procedure, or saying something like more information regarding conflicts of interest may be found in the League of Oregon Cities or the Oregon Ethics Commission. Questions about whether a conflict exists may be directed to the NCAC chairperson or to the NCAC parliamentarian who may consult with the Oregon Ethics Commission, parentheses. The latter is a question for Sarah. So I don't know if we add something like that, if that would kind of address that concern.
It certainly might, but let's let Michael
Yeah.
work his magic.
Right. And then Wyatt, you and I can talk about that next Friday too.
Okay.
So that's in that document I sent you.
Yeah,
Because I had the same thought. Listening, it helps to listen to the video from the previous meeting and take notes while I'm listening, because we had quite a good discussion on this.
did you catch Michael's creation of a new term? in the
Yes.
minute?
What was the new term?
Attorneyal.
Oh, yeah, attorneyal, yes. I like that one.
It's kind
Yeah.
of rates up there with strategery. It's going to be in the dictionary next year.
You guys, you had quite a few fun little colorful statements in the last meeting. They did not make it into the minutes, but
I noticed that.
Maybe I could put in misunderestimate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Have
Michael,
we satisfied this?
Michael, I've sent you this text so you don't have to extract it yourself.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Back to okay, conflicts of interest, records request. We're waiting on that to be blessed.
It's
or
in the
cursed.
list with Sarah. Yeah, and that there's a typo there, Tom. You need a
Where?
space between a authority right there. Yeah.
No, it's a new word.
Okay, I'll accept that.
I mean, if you're going to invent words, I could do that too.
So I'll bring that one up to the at the executive board meeting too. But I think, yeah, all of this is going to have, actually, one of the things I want to ask at the executive board meeting is whether they want to have a separate set of feedback sessions or just join us for the main ones. But certainly we can send them the document before the feedback sessions and let them weigh in. I don't know that we want to take a lot of time within an executive board meeting. Probably not. I'm sure not. Mark, you can weigh in there, but yeah, that would be. But hopefully, at least by sending them and getting their input that way, we may have separate one-on-one meetings too to talk about their particular areas.
Okay,
Okay.
surveys. Okay, any progress on surveys and straw polls?
No, sorry, that's me.
Okay. NCAC communications,
My Wyatt and I are meeting next Friday to talk about this.
okay. Public statements we think is done, outreach communications, okay. Any progress on that?
Not on the physical posting. No, I don't have anything to report on that.
Okay,
I need to find a different source for the golf course because Missy Moss has stepped down.
okay.
Have they hired someone new?
I don't know. I'll have to ask the Lindmans. I can ask them. They're my neighbors behind.
I think Bill is also a
Oh,
board member.
yeah, yep.
So I don't know if he would know someone to talk to, but
Yeah, that's a great, yeah, I can shoot him a text.
Okay, I was thinking that the notice that the person at the golf course stepped down was by one of the board members, and they would probably be the best ones to know. They'd have to approve it anyway. So, going on.
Well,
with
could I ask a
nurses-
question about posting?
No.
In South Beach, Tom, I know you know that place down there where mailboxes are.
Uh-huh.
Who owns that cupola?
Yes. There was a person who organized that, and I don't have their name, don't remember their name, but it's possible that the South Beach Road Association has titular control of it.
Would that
Uh-huh.
be Tom Prohatich then? Because I know he's involved. Could I reach out to him?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at that the other day, and and it's a very nice structure. And I was just wondering if it would be possible for us to put up a frame that we could, tack up statements or notices or whatever from time to time. Assuming, most people go through there once in a while, and that would be an ideal place to put it.
I absolutely agree.
yeah, I'm also wondering, Susan, for your outreach task force, if some of these different places seem to have homeowners associations, and if you were to approach the homeowners associations to see if they could actually anoint somebody, right? That they could, that would be representing them.
You know what?
For the
That's a great
NCAC.
idea.
So I know they seem to be sprinkled around. I don't know myself how many of them, but there seem to be a number of homeowners associations.
Interesting collection of words there. Anoint, sprinkled.
Well, hey, you guys have unlocked the. Yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah, we Lutherans know all about that stuff. Maybe I could build us a font.
A new library for, yeah. All right, so just a thought. It's fleeting, so I thought I would mention it while I'm thinking about it. So,
Because it's
out of order.
We might get some more people for outreach that way.
yeah, it might pique their interest too to know that we're trying to do this and more of a relationship with these outside organizations a little bit.
Yeah,
It's excellent. I like that.
I like that.
Okay, more for your to-do list. Okay, moving on.
Okay, of the things
It's
that
on
we
the
don't.
list for Sarah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ignoring the things with check marks on
Mhm.
them. Grant applications. That's a Sarah question, really.
When you go back to parliamentarian, I'm just wondering. So I wonder if we were to say all NCAC subcommittees, panels, and task forces and members shall have access to the parliamentarian. And that might cover some of this issue of the honor system. Or the
We're missing a
question.
comma there.
Yeah, you'd like
Oxford
that
comma,
comma.
you know?
I like that, Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
I might take
Does-
care of.
The question is, does Michael like it?
It sounds to me like that's really part of he views as the role of the parliamentarian,
Mhm.
subject to correction here, but
And maybe instead of advice and counsel, guidance, facilitation and guidance, or what were the words you were using, Michael?
Facilitation, yeah, and I also use clarification, but I don't think that's appropriate here, but because that sometimes can mean something opprobrious. Sir, you're not being very clear.
Well, I think with you, we know what that you'll know what to do, but this
Sure,
document
sure,
is
yeah.
to be able to help someone who may not have the kind of
Well, I think
experience that you have.
advice and counsel, I think, is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you happy with these changes, or do you
Yeah.
want to think about it?
No, I think that's fine.
And don't forget the extra comma.
I think that, the whole concept there is to provide provide for and allow members the knowledge of alternative or options and so on, rather than definitions of how the way things are supposed to be.
Mhm.
Give them options.
Yeah. Help them to understand the consequences is
Elise asks
sort of subtext.
Elise asks a very good question about confidentiality, and there is a default assumption about parliamentarians that private discussions are always confidential. That's a default. Default is confidentiality, and it could be open and discussed publicly only with the understanding and permission of the person who is asking for that advice. That's a good point, though, and I'm thinking of also of adding. I think I don't have it right here, but the list of responsibilities for the parliamentarian. I think confidentiality might be a word that's in there.
Well, you've got the text, and you can add it if it's not
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think this section of this PP&R, we should put the contact name and information for the parliamentarian, because a member may not know how to get in touch with the
A
parliamentarian.
good point.
Oh, we should have a membership or a directory really for all of the officers, I think,
Yeah.
of some
Absolutely.
type.
Yeah.
Like we've had a bylaws subcommittee email set up, and I'm wondering if we should ask Gary to set up emails for each of the officers. Because right now it goes, or we could just say info at, but if it's confidential, it might be nice for Michael to have an NCAC
Direct-
email,
direct line.
parliamentarian at,
Well,
NCAC.
it's a matter of money. We can have Gmail accounts all over the place, but
That's what we have.
yeah.
Yeah, the
we have-
bylaws one is just a Gmail account.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly don't mind people having access to my email account. That's fine with me.
But as you change, see, it would be
That's
an
true.
email that would change. So like
That's
when
true.
I'm no longer chair, the bylaws email would go to whoever the new chair is. It doesn't
That's
have to
right.
change the email. And the
Well,
same
when you
like,
put that down there, is there a potential that that can automatically be transferred or transitioned to the person's personal account? I mean, is that
yes.
can that link?
So yes, that's what happens with me is the,
Oh, okay. Yeah, then that's, then that's just a matter of changing it each time the position changes.
right,
Okay.
right. So yeah, it makes it pretty easy. So I don't know, it might be that certain, like right now, there's info at and there's admin at, and I think, Mark, you have access to both of those, right? But I think Gary kind of receives them and sends them
Oh,
things to you that are direct, correct? Or would you want to,
Hmm.
do you think there'd be a good idea? I'm wondering if in the references section, if we actually have a list of contacts or just have something saying a list is on the NCAC website of how to contact people.
There should,
Or are we overthinking it?
there is generally, most organizations have a contact us
Yeah.
page,
Yeah.
and that should be part of the contact us page.
Mhm.
And
So-
of course, nobody needs to talk to the editor.
So while we're while we're at parliamentarian, if you go back, I'm wondering why we have parliamentarian down at resources instead of under procedures.
References, you mean?
References. Why do I keep saying that? Sorry. Yes. Why wouldn't that be a procedure? Do you feel like we should be having a job description section and that we have all of the different jobs in a
Yes,
separate
actually.
area?
Yeah, that's all in references. That was one of the changes I made.
Oh, you did?
All-
Okay. Okay, I hadn't noticed that. Thank you.
So the duties of the chairperson, that all got moved to
Yeah.
references.
So I'm wondering if we even have another section. Well, no, I don't really want to do I think we did talk about peanut butter and jelly or something. Job descriptions as being a whole section. Because I like the idea of having them all together.
We could, have subsections in there. There's no rule against that.
Mhm.
Duties of the officials, we can do that,
Yeah, just job descriptions. Yeah.
or job descriptions.
Mhm.
Is that something? We can do that. Do people want to do that?
I think so.
Yeah. I also think it would be helpful to have a list of the current officers in the reference section and the parliamentarian, their names.
The problem is when they change, we'll have to get these things reapproved.
Right.
And
The monitoring task force, that's part of the responsibility annually for each monitoring task force to make sure the names are accurate and the contact. I think it's a small thing, personally.
Maybe we have a policy that as individuals change, that the policies and procedures can be updated without a vote
Like
to
that.
correct, to update.
I think that'd have to be in the bylaws too, wouldn't it?
no.
No, it could be
No?
it's an
because we already
addition,
have in the bylaws how they get voted in mid-year or whatever, but I think it would be more of a policy or a procedure on,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
updating.
don't know.
Yeah, updating is not a voting issue.
Yeah, I mean, you're raising an interesting point, Susan. Normally, I wouldn't think that we would have the list of current officers and, executive board members basically
only reason it
listed,
came up
but
with-
you've got it in the outreach task force section, and so, which is helpful in the references section. It does kind of follow that. It'd be a good spot also.
And then with listing the parliamentarian and how to get in touch with him or her in the reference,
Mhm.
you kind of open the can of worms there.
Yeah.
Or
So
the,
I didn't detect an action item there for me. So What do you want written?
Shall be placed in the references section of these policies, procedures, and references without the need for a vote of the membership.
Hello, puppy.
And per Bill Miller, should it be chairpersons?
Yes. Thank you.
Thought chair was gender neutral, but okay.
No, what his point was, he actually read Robert's Rules of Order and said a chair is someone who chairs a meeting and may not actually be the person in an office, and that Robert's Rules says that
okay.
a person in the office is a chairperson. And so that's what we adopted in the bylaws.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine, I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop.
Keeping each
That'll
other
change,
honest.
that'll change, that'll change.
Okay. Um,
You'll notice that early former editions of Robert's Rules always use the term him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's changed. But you know, I applauded him for being so thorough in reading Robert's rules on that issue.
okay,
Okay.
so just to recap what I've just done, I've added this, but this is still pending with Susan until we finalize that. And I've changed that to job descriptions, and I will have subheadings under here for the various people.
So going back to the monitoring task force, I think updates to the monitoring task force list can be in that section. And then under job descriptions, perhaps we could say updates of current officers and chairpersons should be placed in the references section without the need for a vote of the members. So where would we put that?
I think that would be a policy. It'd still be here, I would think.
Oh, you're talking about a new policy, then you're not talking about having it under policy 16. You're talking about policy 17.
I'm confused. Just start over,
Probably it's
please.
me, but right now you have the monitoring task force talking about updating current officers and chairpersons. But the monitoring task force is about
that's what I thought I
outside
heard.
organizations.
That's
So
what I thought I heard Susan say. And if that's not what she said, then that's where my confusion is.
okay, so I think what we were talking about is updates to the references section regarding people. They might be task monitoring outside organizations for monitoring, or they could be our officers and committee chair people.
So it's a new policy, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And also not only
So I think we could say update of current executive board members, because that includes officers and committee and chairpersons. And monitoring monitoring task force contacts.
I will turn this into English or some semblance thereof.
Okay, so you'll handle that. Great, thank you. And then, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Susan. So we will add then under references a list of a new reference that would be a list of current executive board meeting members and their contact emails.
Okay.
I'll take on following up with Gary about setting up. I'll bring that up at the executive board meeting, actually. Can we do this? Have a list of emails for the exec board members. Do they want them? We'd like to be able to make it easy for people, or do we just want to keep that info at? I have found it helpful to have the bylaws one.
Okay.
I don't know if Rand would want to have similar thing for the community plan or not, but Mark, you might prefer having things go to the info at, or would you like to have one for chairperson at, or NCAC chair at, blah, 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 that kind of thing?
You know, I don't, I guess having one go directly to the chair would be maybe nice. Sometimes somebody has to filter it and decide where to send it. I was thinking about this just a minute ago in terms of school board stuff. And I went back and looked in the bylaws, and it does say that the chair is the official spokesperson of the NCAC, but we do school board stuff. The chair of the school board speaks for the school board, so that when we get our individual questions from the public, we usually, sometimes the public will send it to one person only, or they'll send it to all board members. And we sort of share those with the chair if we get them, and the chair speaks for us, if you would. So, so anyways, I think it might be nice to have one, both the NCAC and one for the chair. Then somebody who has a question about something can go just straight to the chair.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think it'll be a good discussion. Thank you, Mark. That helps.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And really for the task forces too. So once the task force has a chairperson. But those are subcommittees and task forces are part of the executive board. Chair people are part of the executive board.
The task forces are not necessarily.
The chair of the task force is part of the executive board in the bylaws.
I think that's optional. We put a may in there. It's not available,
Article
it's not available.
6, the executive board shall consist of members of the NCAC, elected and appointed NCAC officers, immediate past chairpersons of subcommittees and task forces.
Really?
So they may choose not to attend, but they are members. Okay, so thank you. I think those are good. I'll get back to you after our executive board meeting, but I'm anticipating people wouldn't have an objection to that, and I'll give Gary a call too. I don't think it should be hard to set that up. It's just emails, but they're managed through the secretary, so he has access to all of that information. And that way also it's kept as a public record. So when I send something out as a bylaws committee person, it's incorporated within the record if there's a records request for those emails managed by the NCAC. Okay, back to Elise's question on privacy in the parliamentarian. I think it's a really good point, and I'm wondering, privacy is an interesting thing, Elise, here, because we're subject to Oregon public meeting law, and So in some cases, the parliamentarian can be confidential, like if somebody just approaches him or her with a question, like an ethical kind of a thing, I think that would be fine. Sarah might weigh in on that, but I think it's probably, I'm mulling over whether we should say anything about confidentiality.
We're back on records requests, or where are we on?
No, we're back in,
Below.
sorry, policy 11.
That's an interesting point there. Nancy,
Or no,
I
policy.
hadn't really considered that, but I'm really acting out of or speaking out of values that that I'm aware of that parliamentarians normally.
Because
There's
it's
a difference
reference.
between rendering advice to a chair during a meeting and so on and so, or a situation such as we're in right now, where we're talking about parliamentary procedures or limitations and so on. There's a difference between all of that and somebody calling me up and asking me for some advice.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how, I'm not, I'll have to think about how to differentiate there, but clearly it needs to be differentiated, because whatever formal advice given to a chair or meetings and so on and so forth, that is definitely a part of public meeting laws, needs to be.
yeah, I think it's a question for Sarah. I'm going to add to the list.
Yeah.
But you're subject to Oregon public meeting laws through OSU too, aren't you? The
That's an
faculty
interesting
senate.
question. That's never really come up. That's but yes, I mean, all of our meetings, of course, are in the open, and there are extensive notes and minutes and so on that are available. But there's no mechanism in committee meetings or the faculty senate's executive board that where that comes into effect. That's interesting.
I think it's actually reference under parliamentarians, been moved to references. Sorry. So something for you to consider, Michael.
Yeah. I'll
think-
add that to my to-dos.
Okay,
At
so
least it's all been very different for me dealing with Oregon public meeting laws. It raises interesting issues.
okay,
So I think it was the
Uh,
reference for, yeah, there we are. Sorry about that. So Michael, why don't you think about
Yeah.
that, and I'll also put it on the list for Sarah on
Yeah.
whether there's something that fits in there about confidentiality, because that might be a question for a member before they contact you.
That's right.
Although you could even say when you're contacted, I have to let you know that this may or may not be confidential, depending on what the outcome is on that.
Yeah, but that's one of those areas, Nancy, where I may very well say, absolutely, this is confidential, regardless.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, there are lines to be drawn.
Well, and then you also have to look at the reality of the question.
Oh, yeah.
It's ever going to be
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
challenged.
that's an interesting one too. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody drops something that on me that is clearly and blatantly against the law, then I have another responsibility,
Mhm.
an obligation to self-report.
so between two people, that's okay. You can have any kind of conversation you want between two officials, as long as there's not three. So I think there's not really an issue with confidentiality of
Well,
enforcing it.
you can, in terms of reality of enforcing it, probably, but we are supposed to take notes when we have conversations between two people. If I'm
That was-
approached, if I'm approached by a member regarding a bylaws kind of a thing, like last year, I was to make a note, and I did. And in some cases, posted it, actually the conversation in our site, in the Google Drive. Not always, but Sarah was pretty adamant about that.
That's
During
all.
all of that.
But you are also, well, geez. This is worth a conversation with Sarah. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the whole confidentiality thing. I think I know what she'll say. But
Yeah,
really, people should feel safe to be able to come to you, Michael,
absolutely.
and ask the
Yes.
questions. So,
I tell
Okay.
you this, I'm unlikely to make notes if somebody asks me about editing this document.
right.
And
Well,
I think it is an unreasonable restriction for conversations between two people. They are not a meeting, they are a conversation. They have nothing to do with Oregon public meeting law. I am quite adamant about that.
Okay. I hear you. And I think it'll be interesting and I think questions about editing would be a different category somehow, but maybe not. Maybe not.
But you go.
It'll be an interesting thing to hear Sarah answer to us.
So can I can just
Oh,
add
yes,
just
please.
one comment maybe to this, and you know, maybe others know of this. So what we were taught as school board members is that, you know, you can talk one-to-one, but what you can't do is deliberate toward a decision.
yeah,
So that's the term that we try and follow. You can talk about, you know, the last board meeting or something going on in the district, but you cannot deliberate towards a decision, which is quite honestly, that's a hard thing to do, but that's sort of those are sort of the guardrails when we talk one-to-one.
Mhm.
So anyways.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
And-
So it sounds like from
yeah,
what you're saying, Michael could feel free to give someone confidential advice and facilitation if you were contacted.
yeah, again, but I would ask Sarah, but you know, and we don't, as a school board member, you're voting on approving bond levies and construction
Right.
dollars, and so it's a different kind of a thing than, you know, here, because it's a membership vote. You don't, it's not just a board vote, so it is a little bit different, and so maybe it's
Mhm.
even more leeway.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I think we're done with that. Thank you for humoring me, Tom.
And so we've got procedures we're into
Mhm.
and removal from office. Looks like we have. If I could put a slash there and get it on one line. Yeah, I can. Anybody object to me putting a slash there? Just looks so much better. Okay, hearing no objections.
It's still, oh, I see. What's the and is gone. Yeah, okay. You're the editor.
Okay, so any progress on this?
That was, yeah, Wyatt and Michael.
I think that's the language. I'm just reading it here. I think there was a comment that I had somewhere, and maybe it just didn't make it, about removal from office and kind of I'm sorry, I'm confusing that with another one, so not a problem.
I don't,
Um,
for
as
some
I'm
reason,
reading
which
it, oh, go ahead.
I don't remember why that is highlighted item. I think there was some question about it, but I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I don't think, um, unlike other things that we've had, I don't think there was any question mark about the process that we incorporated there. So maybe wording would be something that people want to address, assuming that the process is approved.
So I think the reference there where it has described in Article 7 of the bylaws, it's also Article 4, Section E, vacancies. So I think
Oh.
that's actually more, let's take out the part about Article 7, because the bylaws Article 4, Section E is vacancies shall be filled by a vote of the membership at the next regular membership meeting to complete the unexpired term of the officer being replaced pursuant to outreach task force procedures described in Article 7.
So you remove that? I lost the thought.
No,
so I'm
just the
sorry.
part about shall be filled pursuant to Bylaws Article 4, Section E. Just no, you can leave which shall be filled pursuant to Article 4, Section E of the bylaws.
Your voice sounds a whole lot better, Tom. You feeling better?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Yeah, that was a little bit of nasty flu I had.
Yeah. I have a friend who got a nasty flu. She's in the hospital. There's something going on.
Ooh,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm hearing terrible things.
Yeah.
Okay. This seems to be,
So there are actually two different sections in the bylaws, but I think it fits to have it in one policy.
I'm gonna nitpick a little bit here. Where it says removal from offices, shouldn't it be just office singular?
Yes. Where are you?
yeah, where
Yeah.
I'm,
Under procedure 3, the heading where it says removal from offices,
Yeah, that should be single.
singular, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still not seeing it.
Yeah, right there.
Where are you seeing the S?
Under consult community development director, right under that says.
Oh, there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we certainly don't want a position where we're removing offices.
So that should be section D of the bylaws, Article.
no, we're
Or
just missing
section
an
D.
R. We're just missing an R.
Officers.
No,
No,
No?
no,
From
it should be
from
office.
office.
Removing
Yeah,
from
yeah.
office. Yeah, it's a singular from office.
Just take the S out.
Take the S.
And then it says Article 4, Section D of the bylaws.
Yeah. Removal from office.
This is section D.
Correct.
I would add also, in that first line, a member of the executive board may be removed, and add from office.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's fairly draconian. We do not want to do that.
Well, yeah.
Tied to the rack.
Yeah. We just remove him.
Yeah, we'll need a sergeant at arms if the
Yes.
interpretation is,
Or maybe a captain of arms.
yeah.
Okay. Should motion for removal be capitalized?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Oh, wow, that's cool. What did you do there?
It's a secret. I'm an editor.
I'm looking. That was a new
Okay.
trick.
Yes, it is. Motion for, I just highlighted it. Went over here to the change case,
Oh,
lowercase.
wow.
Where
Wow.
I know
That's
much.
cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I saw that.
I always learned something from you, Tom, and we're watching you edit.
I know much, much more about this program than I ever wanted to know. And in really intelligent programs, you could highlight that and add it capitals, and it would realize that 4 is not to be capitalized. and not do that. But
Wow.
Word isn't quite that smart.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So the declaration of vacancy, I'm wondering, all we're saying is read the bylaws. There's nothing in here that's not in the bylaws. So do we really need the declaration of vacancy?
That is an excellent point. Less is more. I would be in favor of just removing it. Declaration of vacancy, then that goes away.
I know, I thought you'd like that.
Makes it a lot shorter, which makes me much happier.
Yes.
I
Me
have small needs. Any objection?
Nope.
Hearing none. I shall enforce the D key, the delete key, and
So the removal of subcommittee and task force members, I think that's where we still needed more text, Wyatt and Michael. Because the part above is for the
Oh, yeah.
chairs.
Yeah.
And I think what we have in the bylaws there is that the executive board can remove them,
do we have that?
but we don't have a procedure on how to do it.
Mhm.
So the difference is that that paragraph is about the members and the paragraph above is about the executive board, which has to go to the membership for approval. The
And the
executive
board
board has the authority to remove subcommittee and task force members. And so we just need some wording on how does that happen? And my guess would be the chair would need to, that committee or task force would need to take that to the executive board.
So I'm a little confused about the editing process, but going back to removal from offices, don't we need a line through S?
He
Otherwise-
has one. It's just hard to see.
Oh, okay, because I can't see it.
I'll show you the,
To add it to the header next to procedure 3.
That's
No.
true.
markup.
Disregard what I just said because it's
Okay,
Singular.
no markup. That's what it looks like. There's no markup.
It's just that little teeny tiny line for one letter doesn't show up.
My glasses couldn't see it.
No.
Okay. Okay, Susan, did you have other changes?
disregard.
Okay.
So, well, right. So you've added of an officer. So it's just removal from office, right?
Okay,
Or do you want to have two different procedures? One is removal from office and one is removal from a committee, subcommittee or task force member.
yeah, these are not actually offices.
Right.
Removal from office. So I just actually,
Yeah, because not of
Right.
an officer, because it also includes subcommittee and task force chairs.
yeah,
They're people. So it really is removal from office
position,
or
because they're not, is that an office or not? Okay, just removal from office of an
Yeah.
officer. Delete. Okay, sorry. I just
That's
went down
okay.
a path and,
yeah.
oh, what did I just do? Oh, you have to be very careful in Word, not to go too far.
Yeah.
Let's go there. Because if you go all the way to the end, then you're deleting the entire thing. Because Word thinks whenever you delete an end of paragraph and anything else, it deletes the whole thing. That's a feature. And I love it. Sort of.
It's kind of interesting as I'm thinking about it. The bylaws do say that subcommittee members can be removed by the executive board. On the other hand, they're voted in by the membership. So that was approved for the bylaws. So
Yeah, this is a procedure for removal from office, but members of subcommittees and task forces are not in offices.
mhm.
How how distinct, how detailed do we really want to go on that?
I think it would be helpful for the
I
executive
suspect
board to
some
know.
variation
That's
of this
that's a
would be done here,
prerogative of the executive board, isn't it?
limiting
Yes.
it to the board.
So I think it would be helpful for the executive board to have some procedure on how they would go about doing that if they needed to.
Hmm.
So do you want me to take that one, or well, Wyatt and Michael, do you want to tackle that?
I'll try that one as well.
Okay.
So are we done with that, or?
Could we just highlight that part? Because I think we're okay with the first part is just this removal of subcommittee and task force members needs work. That first part, I think we're good with, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we do have that thing about the resignation option. So
We had that happen.
I think we should, oh, go ahead, Susan.
I was just going to say there was a chair a couple years back who stepped down. And so we have had that crop up.
Right.
I didn't.
I think
understand.
that's,
What was that?
Then Bourgeois stepped down as chair a couple years
I
back.
just realized that the removal of members of a committee is different than the officers.
exactly.
Committees chair and the subcommittee chairs and task force chairs are already members of the executive board by definition.
Right.
That's right.
Exactly.
So it's just members
Right.
that this last thing is about.
Exactly. And the executive board has
Do we wanna
authority
go
to
there?
remove them. The membership it has to go to the membership to remove an executive board member.
Well,
You're looking confused, Tom.
I'm not hearing anything as the world's gone quiet.
yeah,
Oh. Can you guys hear me?
yes,
Okay.
the thing about
I think my
removal,
audio just went out.
the thing about the prerogative of the executive board to remove members of a committee always may
I
be.
think my audio just died. I have to change audio. Sorry.
Yeah, we can see you, but you
Yeah.
can't hear us.
I couldn't hear you because my headset is running out of gas. So hopefully I
Okay.
can get it plugged in here. Just never got around to inventing wireless power.
It's the prerogative of the executive board, but
Okay.
the membership may always challenge
Mhm.
the activities of the executive board or the chair, et cetera, et cetera. I guess what I'm playing with here is to what extent do we want to delineate the exact process or procedure by which members of a task force or subcommittee are removed, and just leave it open. I don't know. I'm talking out loud here.
Well, as a member of the executive board, and Mark, you can weigh in too, and Michael, you are too. I guess I would find it helpful to have some procedures to go by if we had a request from, say, a committee chairperson to have one of their committee members removed.
Well, then I'm thinking that the procedure should be similar, but
Right.
limited only to the executive board rather than the membership.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, all right, I'll write that up.
And by the
Okay, am I
back
back
in that-
online?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Yeah, we've resolved everything, Tom. Can you
Tom,
hear us?
I'm going to rewrite, or I'm going to write some narrative about removing members.
Let's make sure he can hear us first, Michael.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Tom? Tom? I don't think he can hear us yet.
That's it. I'll wait.
Okay. Susan, back to your question. What I meant by resignation is I think we needed to add, and I think we talked about this at the last meeting, just didn't get in here, that someone would be given the opportunity to resign
Oh, gotcha.
before going through the process of being removed.
And I was
So,
thinking of someone who had actually
right,
resigned
right.
from office and the procedure for that.
all right. So I'm thinking if we could add something in, I'm questioning whether we would want to. And it would depend, if somebody's being, well, the bylaws state with or without cause. So, but if there is a cause, would we want any record of that? Probably not. I think that gets us into deep water. So
Yep.
I kind of think we should have something in there saying that advance, let's see, a member of advance notice removal. So be given to the subject by email and one other form of communication, and the person will be given an opportunity to resign before going through the process.
That's a
Should
that's an
we,
interesting twist, interesting selection of words, given the opportunity.
well, and please feel free to wordsmith. I'm just throwing this out there. Some kind of a concept that it might be that someone would prefer, to just say, I don't want to go through this hassle, or if it's someone who's being removed because they're not doing their job or they're not attending meetings or for whatever, they may just think, well, what the heck, I'd just rather
I'm out of here.
quit and let's just avoid this.
That's the
So,
purpose of the advance notice. That's
right.
I'm just
We don't have to codify that. I
He's
don't think.
back. He's back.
I am back, sorry. Apologize
That's
for,
well, I'm being picky, but one always has the opportunity to resign. But we could
Okay.
certainly remind one.
Yeah, that we're not going to be crazy and say, no, you can't resign. We're going to put you through
Right.
this. So, yeah, I think you're
We are
probably right. We
required to be-
probably don't need to
No, we
call
don't
it
need
out.
that. I don't think we need
I-
that. That's getting pretty nitty gritty.
So, Tom, while you were out, I think we've resolved it all. Michael was going to summarize for you.
Yeah,
I'll do some wordsmithing on that, Tom.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll just leave it. Shall I send that to you and Wyatt?
sure.
They're going to do a paragraph for the subcommittee and task force members that would be similar to a paragraph above, except for the executive board.
I'll have to send it. I'll do a blank copy. Yeah, okay.
I think what we had heard from Sarah is you can send it out. They just can't include you in any responses. They can just talk among
Okay.
themselves. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I've started sending my notice to all of you without blind copying. It's just, we can't respond to more than just me.
Well, that means I don't have to do that blind copy brouhaha. Okay, that would be good.
Yeah, just the only thing is we can't just do a reply all with those for Oregon public meeting law. I've even stopped saying it in my notes. Are we good?
I'm just doing that so that I don't forget to do it. I set up the email.
Okay.
I haven't sent it yet. Okay.
So for procedure 4,
I don't think we need procedure 4 anymore.
does it need to be added to the honor system procedure? Because it does delineate what happens. The thing that's different is about, if there are more than 4, how do they select which
Okay.
4?
That is kind of a procedure thing, kind of thing. Procedure 4. So that really kind of goes into the honor system. We agree?
Well, but that sentence next to the last sentence, if more than 4 persons, the chair will instruct. That does, where does that go? I mean, that needs to stay there, doesn't it?
Hmm.
That's a.
Does it need to stay there, or could it be put into the procedure with the honor
Well,
system
I think,
procedure?
yeah, but it could be melded into the other for sure.
Right.
But that's a procedure that we need to hold on to.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just gonna move it down
Oh,
to
okay, yeah.
13. Come on.
There it is.
I know you don't like to renumber, Tom, but I wonder if we should, it's so important. I wonder if the honor system should be put up higher in the procedure. We haven't really talked about priority of procedures, but it's so important. Oregon public meeting law also kind of is
Okay, I can
all
reorder those.
encompassing.
I can reorder those. Would rather do it behind the curtains,
Sure. Sure.
rather than live, but I can do it right now if you want.
No, we can, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, so
Behind the curtains.
that would be, that procedure 4 will be removed.
Mhm.
This actually seems also to,
No,
uh,
I think merge into honor system procedure was meant for procedure 4.
uh,
It just got put in the wrong spot.
okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And you and I need to, I need to work on that. So maybe if you have some time next week, why don't we set up a meeting to talk about that?
Okay. Okay, so monitoring task force. Any thoughts on that, Susan?
No, I don't have any additional.
So Susan, this was really good. And did you have a chance to send this back to Guy for his comment?
No, actually, but I certainly can.
That'd be great.
Mhm.
So for the policy part, the procedure part, and the reference part.
Yep.
I think that shall should be a should.
Say again?
The monitoring force should
Oh.
include
Mhm.
from 2 to 5 people,
Um,
because we can't, if only one person volunteers, we still want it done.
yeah, that's true. Tom, you're a little fuzzy on your new, there you go.
That's the beard, that makes me look fuzzy.
Okay.
Okay, well, this is not my primary device. How about, is that better?
It's okay. Yeah, no, we can.
Okay, so that should be a should.
Okay.
Susan, did you want me to extract all of the outreach kinds of things into an email for you, or you want to pick it off yourself?
I can probably cut and paste from this. Just out of I'll let you know if I have a problem.
Okay.
A little note.
Okay, roll call.
So that's on my list for Sarah.
Okay. Okay, procedure 8 is executive board
meeting cancellation rules? Is that what it's meant to be?
Work in progress. Sorry, I will have that for
I
the
mean,
next meeting.
is that still something we need to line out here as opposed to is it a procedure?
Yes. Well, gosh, I think we should just, I mean, as you said in the last meeting, if we don't have a quorum, we cancel. So there's that, but I think it could be a simple sentence or two saying that meetings will be canceled as soon as we know that there's no business or, for whatever reason. We're supposed to have at least one week, I think, notice for an agenda and that kind of thing, but I'll draft something for the next meeting for sure.
Okay. Oh, I committed to do something. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, I think that the ad hoc committees should be defined. The question is, should we have those be also not subject to vote of passage? I mean, because that's the kind of thing that
I don't know. I kind of think that's one that maybe should go before the membership.
well, a subcommittee, I assume, gets instantiated. We don't actually, do we actually describe how they get instantiated?
Yes, it's under the bylaws, under subcommittees. Get in here. Subcommittee. There's a long without sections under subcommittees, and it says that other subcommittees and task forces. So section D, other standing or ad hoc subcommittees may be established as needed by the membership. The purpose and the term of service of each subcommittee should be established at the time of formation. The purpose, composition, and operations of additional subcommittees should be included in the P&P. We're going to have to upgrade that to up PP&R. If those subcommittees complete their purpose, probably purposes, references to it may be deleted from the P&P. Task forces can be constituted by the executive board. So yeah, in terms of the policies, I would think at the time that the subcommittee is formed, it's approved by the membership. And my guess is that this kind of thing, this procedure stuff, would be later as they flesh the everything out, right? So I would think it could be as simple as at the first meeting where the subcommittee reports out to the membership that there could be a motion to approve the purpose, composition, and operations at that time.
Yeah, that would be my assumption, that it would have to be defined to the membership, and that definition
Right.
would just go in here. Unfortunately, Community Plan Steering Subcommittee is already in work in progress.
Right, but I would think
Other than
at the next meeting, there could be a simple motion to, at this point, it could just be part of the policies and procedures document that's new, right? Because we didn't have
Yeah.
one before, but new, going forward, it could be that becomes a motion to amend the policies and procedures when there's a new subcommittee.
Okay. I think
Because that's pretty
good.
important, I think, as opposed to contact information update.
I think it can just be an announcement, actually, but yeah, okay.
Right, I'm sure. It could be if there are no objections, this is what what they're constituted to be. But there's one thing for ad hoc subcommittee definitions. I would think though, wouldn't we just add a procedure though for something like the community plan steering committee? Steering subcommittee.
But I didn't understand that. Well,
Instead of having it as part of procedure 9,
Yeah.
wouldn't it have its own policy or own?
I think it's just going to be
All right.
defined here, and any
Okay,
other.
where do we have the bylaws subcommittee?
That's a standing committee.
Right. Where do we have it in
We're
the?
talking. We have that in the bylaws, but I've forgotten where.
No, I know it's in the bylaws. Do we have it anywhere? I guess we don't have it in the policies and procedures on how we operate.
No, I think it's pretty well lined out, and we spent a
Okay.
lot. We spent a lot
We
of
did.
ink on
We
that
did.
one.
Okay, that's true. All right. So,
Okay.
okay. So since it's all going for approval at one time, I think you could
Yeah.
safely put in the description of the community plan steering subcommittee.
Okay. I'll have to ask them next Monday. What do we do here? Because it started without me. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I can come up with something. Okay. Moving on.
How are we doing on process here? I have a 12 o'clock meeting I need to prepare for.
I think we're pretty good. I don't think the rest is going to take very much time in terms of talking about the feedback session. So in the agenda, we have until Michael, we've decided we're going to go to 11:30 going forward. So
Right. Yeah, normally that's fine. Today is a little different.
okay. So I had
For
11:10
me,
to start the
anyway.
feedback
Yeah.
session planning, but why don't we, if it's okay, if there's no objection, since Michael has to leave, could we just quickly go over to the feedback session planning part, and then we can return to go through these remaining procedures? I don't know that we have much.
What procedure would that be?
What? Oh, the
Uh,
feedback session planning is a different agenda item.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So we're done with this?
Yeah, I think so, because we still have quite a bit left under procedures, temporarily done, Tom.
Okay. We'll put that that is something entertaining a motion to table to a specific time.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. To postpone to a specific time, actually,
Postpone to
not table it.
Postpone.
Please don't
Yeah.
table it.
You could table it. I mean, there are two kinds of tables.
So if there are no objections, we are going to postpone to a later time in the meeting and move to
Sorry.
to the feedback schedule. So I'm hearing no objection. Moving forward. So I would like to bring this forward to the executive board, and also I plan to talk. I wanted to talk to you guys first. I wanted to talk with Ran and the community plan subcommittee, just to make sure we're not conflicting, and then also talk with Sarah. I put that in a note to her too, but I wanted to bring it to you all first. We had talked about having sessions on a schedule that's similar to what we had last year. And I found, looking at my calendar, that Wednesdays just were not working anymore. Tuesdays work fine for me, but I don't know about you. Now, at the last meeting, Tom, you said you weren't going to be available that last week of March. So I thought, why don't we just start the first week of April? It gives us 3 more meetings of our subcommittee meetings to kind of get things lined out. We don't have to be completely done. I haven't figured out, we had some discussion last meeting about whether we want to do policies first, followed by procedures, followed by references, or whether we want to take a given topic string and talk about policy for it, the procedure for it, and if necessary, reference for it. So organization would be coming, but just in terms of getting them scheduled, I'm wondering what you guys think. So we're looking at having we talked last time, and I'll be bringing that up to the executive board as well, but would like to get approval to have the meeting to adopt the the policies, procedures, and references for Saturday, May 31st, starting at 1. And hopefully we would be done. I'm hoping we don't need all of these feedback sessions, but I'd like to get them on the calendar just for planning purposes. So
Tom, is your CERT Academy done by the 8th of April?
No.
oh, when are
Uh,
your CERT meetings?
Oh, okay, this second, I will get it up. I also, on the 26th, I do have a conflict.
Okay. When are the CERT meetings typically?
On Tuesday evening, starting at 6
Oh,
p.m.
okay. All right. Well, that's a problem. Okay, let me go back to the calendar then. So Tuesdays won't work. And Thursdays are too close to Saturdays. Well, I'll just miss a bunch of Wednesday activities, I guess. But Mondays are too close to Saturdays too. We actually had pretty good turnout on one feedback session we had on a Friday night. So, okay, so what if we change these to Wednesday nights? It's just going to be a couple of weeks.
Wednesdays work for me. The 26th is still out for me, but I can support it. I mean, I make a set of slides. Somebody else can go through it. I don't think that's.
Okay. I have lost my screen share. Where is it? Where did my screen go? There it is. Okay. Okay, so the week of the 20th, the whole week of the 26th, you can't do, Tom?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. Oh, that's a Saturday. Okay.
That is yet another activity. It's the gathering of the guilds.
Okay. So how do people feel about these instead?
Works for me.
Yep.
Okay, are those at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays?
Whoops. Yes, I believe
Okay,
so.
and
Yes,
Saturdays
7
are-
p.m. They're
Saturdays,
now going to be Wednesdays.
Wednesdays
Michael.
and Saturdays are at 10, is that correct?
Saturdays are at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay, all right.
It's right up here. So
Oh, yeah, okay,
it's what we did last time. It seemed to work well. So how does this look with your schedules, and do you think it makes sense?
Yes.
So other than this for this Saturday, the 26th, maybe we just deserve a break and we just get rid of this one. And we just go to, I'll fix table. You can tell I haven't done this very well, Tom, to do this manually. So yours would all be automated. Anyway, so how does that sound? And I think I'll add one more column down here just for an if needed kind of a thing. for the following Wednesday. And Mark, how does this look for you?
Hi, Nancy. So the, I mean, the April dates,
You'll be gone.
I'll be gone. It's in the later, either late evening or early morning. So kind of a maybe on that one. I think maybe that if you think if you have one or two sessions or you would like me to try and be at one because you think there might be questions or you want to comment for me or something, maybe you can email me
Sure.
and then
Okay.
I can try and note that and be present.
I think also we can hopefully have discussed everything with you ahead of time as well, Tom,
Okay.
Mark, and
Okay.
we can send you the information too. You'll have a chance to review the document. I'm sure that's what
Okay.
you want to do on your vacation, but
Yeah.
you'll be back for May, right?
I'll be back on
Right.
May 1st. Yeah.
Okay, so we'd still have some time to make any adjustments that you feel like you'd like to have. Um,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, I get back to my, keep losing my screen here. All right, so I will fill that in. Okay, so are there any objections? So obviously this still is contingent upon talking with the executive board, talking with Sarah, and talking with Ran. But does this sound okay? And Tom, do you have any updates on the community plan in terms of when they might be thinking of feedback sessions
Well,
at this point?
we've had a little bit of problem getting quorum. So first time we're going to meet in quite a while is next Monday. I'll
Okay.
raise it.
Okay, and I'll call Ran in the meantime. I think he's back from his trip.
Yeah, I frankly don't know where we are. We have
Okay,
a decision to make on some serious editing. They want to, just to give you background, they want to make it a more formal looking document. It's fairly informal now, and changing the tone is fairly rigorous.
okay,
But we have to make a
okay,
decision on that.
okay. So it sounds like we're not going to probably conflict with what your committee's
I
doing.
suspect not. We really don't have a timeline we have a timeline that we're supposed to meet, and that's way past.
Okay,
But
Okay.
with all of the other changes, the state isn't too upset about it.
okay. Yeah, I would think not. There's
Hey,
so
Tom.
much that was being thrown at you guys. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Tom, can I just, I think maybe it was at a CAC meeting. I can't remember, but I think I said to Sarah, that they're doing great work, the community plan committee, the steering committee, but it's going to take, I think, longer than we thought to have this done and have a really good product. And I think she kind of said, "Oh no, I think we can still meet, have it done by June." And this was probably a month or two ago, Tom, maybe, but and I don't know if that's going to happen. And I guess what I would say to Sarah is it's going to take as long as it takes to get this done well. And so I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we've got a basic agreement on the values, and that was a big deal. And that really is our major input. Now we have digested the community, the SB 406, the State Senate Bill 406, to increase housing availability. And that is going to be a minimal impact where we thought it was going to be a major impact. So it is possible this all could come together.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm not the subject matter expert on trying to tweak the zoning. And that's what
yeah.
remains to be done, really.
Yeah.
That's the big
Okay.
part. I mean, the body of the document is done. It's just the important parts aren't done yet.
Okay, so that sounds great. I think that when you start having feedback sessions, I would imagine you'll have quite a few folks, and that process will take a little bit of time and a little bit of sort of, I would anticipate longer meetings just with a lot of Q&A, but
Yeah, because people are going to want to be re-educated
Yeah,
on all the
right.
zoning changes. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
we've said it before, but we will say it again.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
it's hugely important, and I think it's,
Yeah.
I guess the good news for us as bylaw subcommittee is that we're not going to conflict with
Yeah.
the feedback
Don't think
sessions for
so,
the
but
community
mean,
plan, but I'll talk to Rand too. So
it's out
thank
of my
you.
hands.
That helps a lot. Actually, I was
Yeah.
afraid that we'd be both doing the same thing. Okay, so if there are no objections, I would entertain a motion to accept the tentative draft feedback session schedule to take to these various parts to to Sarah, to Rand, to the executive board, et cetera, for
I'll sign up for
finalization.
that. So
Okay.
move.
Okay, any comments? Okay, thank you very much. Well, the motion's approved. Motion by Tom is approved as sort of badly presented by me. How's that, Michael, for the minutes?
Yeah.
Michael will figure out how to write.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, thank you. Parliamentary procedure at its best.
You betcha. Move it along.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go to give Elise a chance to comment, because Elise, I think it's actually, we need to change the dates on the actual thing, the times on the website to say 9 to 11:30, but would you like to have any comments, questions, or anything? It's your chance to comment. And welcome again.
Apologies.
What time is it there in Kuwait?
It's 10 p.m.
Oh, my.
Wow.
So I just
Oh,
want
goodness.
to say thank you for allowing me to listen and be a part of this process. It's been wonderfully informative, above all, to just hear the quality of work that's going on and be a part of this trust community. So I'm excited to listen again at some point, and I'm grateful for your patience with me hanging on today. So thank you.
No, we really appreciate your attending. You're welcome anytime. And I will say that the bylaws do allow for up to 7 people on the committee. So elections will be in June, and we could do also mid-year elections. So if you're interested, we would love to have
Well,
you consider us.
thank
Susan
you.
would love to have you consider joining the outreach task force as well, which is a brand new task force to try to
Absolutely.
help
Thank you.
increase
Thank you. Well,
membership.
what I do is governance within an embassy. We have something called ICAS, and it's an interagency board that talks about resource allocation and policies and procedures within an embassy. And so all of this has
Wow.
been really, really interesting to me. And I look forward to being in Oregon in August, possibly, and I look forward to contributing in some small way. So thank you.
Well, that's wonderful. We would love to have you join us. My goodness, you could add so much. So, and
I've
good
been
luck.
taking notes. Yeah.
Good luck with everything happening out there for you. And thank you.
Yes, thank you all. I'll log off and allow you the rest of your time amongst yourselves, and look forward to the next time. So
Okay,
thank you.
thank you so much. And
Thank
all
you.
of these meetings have the documentation and the videos for any of our committee meetings, subcommittee meetings are all on the archives portion of the website. So
Wonderful.
thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
So Michael, I think meeting and action item summary, I will try to get that together in the next during the weekend and send that out. I haven't been doing a very good job of that.
I've got most of them, so
Okay. Well, if you could send that out then on Monday with the minutes or something, that would be super. Otherwise, I'll send something out. And I think also it really helps actually for Tom when Tom, when you send out your updates, you kind of give us a little nudge in there too, so that
Yeah.
helps. But thank you for all the work. So let me just ask, do the rest, I know Michael has to go, but do the rest of you want to go back and look at more of the policies, or do you want to call it a day?
I'm,
The procedures, sorry, we're in the procedures.
yeah, if I'm gonna reorganize things, I have some time now to do it. The
Okay,
rest of the week is pretty tight.
okay, so you would say let's
I'd say
not
let's,
go back.
pack it in. Let me
Okay.
summarize the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to change his reference to a set of job descriptions and demoted all of the
Thanks, Mark.
demoted all of the descriptions. And going to rearrange the procedures to put honor system at the top of the procedures and try to bring all of the ethical kinds of things, float those to the top, and some of the less contentious things, and going to delete procedure 4, which that's been incorporated. I'll summarize that in the email.
Okay.
And I've already sent out some text, and Wyatt and Michael, I think I have one to you. I just need to clean it up a little bit. Because when you do a copy and paste into Outlook from Word, it does not respect strikeouts.
Right, it does not.
Which is ugly,
Yes.
considering it's the same program. But I'm not bitter.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tom, for managing it. I heartily agree with you as I'm trying to do these other policies and procedures. There have been times when I almost picked up the phone to get your help on some things. God, the
You
formatting.
can do that. It's not a
Anyway,
problem.
I don't want to forget the minutes. So did everybody have a chance to read the minutes as we were going
Yes.
along, or do you want to have some time now to look at them? Okay. Does anyone? Oh, you're all saying you're ready to look? Okay, so are there any comments, corrections to the January 17th meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none, those minutes are approved as corrected, or as presented. And the February 7th meeting minutes, are there any comments or corrections to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, the February 7th minutes are approved as presented.
Thank you for helping me out there, Nancy.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much, Michael. It's actually, when Michael sends these out, I go back and I look at the video, and as I do, I run it at 2 times the speed, and we all sound pretty good. And
I have to try that. That's
and I'll stop it to take notes, but it really helps me to refresh what we talked about, because there's a lot in these meetings. So
there's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys very, very much for everything you're doing. We're getting a lot accomplished, and I think we're going to go down now into the aggressive road toward a deadline, and I'm deadline driven. So you'll see more productivity from me, I think. Thank you. Meeting adjourned at 11:15, and I look forward to seeing you not before at our next meeting on March 7th.
Yes.
March 7th. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I'm going to stop recording.
Stop recording. And then anybody